Hi, the Brisbane Broncos are 2-2 after beating the Dolphins 26-12 on Friday night, making them 6-1 all-time against the Moreton Bay outfit. And this is a great game of football, and I can hardly believe that I'm saying this, but the Broncos have completed their in-season challenge, play one regular game of football. They led from start to stumps, played some incredible defense to hold out one of the most potent attacks in the league. They got great performances from key positions, some individual heroics, and they cap it all off with a trademark celebration. I love the signature celebration, and I'm really appreciating the increase in try celebrations just across the league this year. Every other winger has one now, and that's great, but this is a celebration for one matchup only, which has evolved from a stamping of authority to say, welcome to the league, this is our city, and now the bulk of the advertising material for this rivalry, and now it's a sign of game over, I've decided it's done, we win, akin to LeBron's silencer or Steph's night-night. And when you've got a signature celebration like that, you've also got a responsibility for timing it. Katoni didn't throw it out after he scored the first try. You don't want to unnecessarily antagonize an opponent by dancing on their grave when you've only made the first divot. He waited until he scored his second on the buzzer. He gives the crowd a little rev up before he gives them what they really came for. One of Katoni's many skills is timing, usually in defense when he's hitting the skeleton out of a guy, but he knows when to involve himself in attack, when to go for it, and when to streak 40 meters, freeze a former teammate in his boots, and put on the boosters. The more important the game, the better Stags plays. He's always got something in the chamber at the end of a game, either to run through a bunch of tired defenders himself, or to hold up the last all-in effort by their opponent. This game obviously means a lot to him, almost like he's angry that the NRL didn't ask him if they could put another team here, because he would have said no. I feel like I don't rap Katoni often enough. On defense alone, he's one of their most important players. Then with the ball, he's close to unstoppable. And with his dip in form to start the season, making some very uncharacteristic errors like forgetting to pack his hands for the trip to England and then only finding them at halftime down in Melbourne, it's no surprise that the team starts winning again when he comes good. So to the New South Wales selectors, I say if you're looking for the best defensive centre in the league, look no further, please no further than Stephen Crichton. I would love to see another 3 games of him shooting out of the line for no reason, failing to make contact and not catching up on the play. That's what you want, not a guy who teams actively run away from, who is elite in scramble, sliding and individual defense, and who breaks tackles for fun. That's not the New South Wales way. Katoni's obvious disdain for the Dolphins, which clearly comes from his love for the club, absolves him of his single flaw of being from New South Wales. Anyway, this game is bookended by Katoni tries, but there's so much to be happy about in between for the Broncos, and also, this is just a great game of football. It was fun to watch. The scoreboard doesn't really show it, but this was a shootout where both teams had plenty of opportunities with the ball, but the Broncos' defense was just far too good. Dolphins had 51 sets and completed 38 of them. They had 25 offloads, ran for 2,100 meters, had 10 6-agains in their favor, and they only scored 2 tries, despite the fact that they had plenty of chances to win it, but the Broncos' defense just wouldn't let them. Dolphins' defense was also pretty good too, and it was an odd game in the sense that 2 attacking juggernauts turned up, got really good games out of their halfbacks, huge contributions from both forward packs, and really solid work out of their back 5, and yet the quality of defense was so high that both of them needed to pull out all the stops in order to actually score. Katoni's first try, they stacked Reynolds and Mam on the same side and kicked on tackle 1 because Hammers just had to tackle Carrigan and Willison twice in a row. Herbie's shown that he's going to shoot the gap, and Katoni has to catch it twice, regaining it by gripping the top of the ball like an Easter egg, and that's the tone setter. We're kicking on 1, that's how to score points in this game. What, you want to attempt a traditional play through the hands? Better set up in a structure that doesn't let Reynolds find himself obstructed then, guys. Come on, you got anything better? Through the hands to Selwyn. We just did this. You can do better than that. And to be fair to the Finns, they were keeping a lot of the Broncos' more regular options out. They stopped a short ball to Ricky, a burrow from Pakes, and a long ball out to Karapani, all in the space of 10 seconds. Against a worse team, at least one of those ends up in a try, especially that Karapani try. The ball from Walsh was incredible, but Azarko was good enough to turn his hips, get back, and disrupt it. Then when they've got the same shape set up a few minutes later, it was all just a zag for the 35-year-old with a bung rib to go himself, all for a guy who's played a million hours of professional footy, has elite vision and game awareness, and one of the sweetest boots you'll ever witness, seeing a fullback at marker, and the rest just came instinctually. Either way, it's sick, and Adam Reynolds is looking 23 again for a minute. Great time for Reynolds to find some form. He's making sure everyone's getting their touches, directing the ball into the space that he wants it, getting at least 2 or 3 tackles before someone gets to try something insane. And Walsh obviously has the first right of demanding the ball, but I liked how Reynolds was combining with Mam in this game, giving him a bit more of a run, and Ezra had mixed results on tackle 5 in this one, same as he did in Melbourne, but there's a lot of mouths to feed on this team. Just don't leave behind the 23-year-old 5'8". And the big Ezra game will come. Also, he got absolutely dudded by Tafa at the end of the first half with the hospital ball. Any regular pass he would have scored from that. If he scored from that, no one's complaining much about his performance, but it's the try assist, 7 missed tackles, and not much else on the stat sheet for Ez. He also had the ankle tap on Avarillo to stop a certain try, which the Dolphins turned into an actual try just a few tackles later by being like, hey, where's that guy that sprinted from marker to make a desperation ankle tap? Let's take the ball there. And you might say, hey Diesel, that was a pretty regular try. I thought you said there weren't any of those in this game. To which I say first, thank you for calling me Diesel. And also, you need the exception that proves the rule. And it took the Dolphins an 80-meter line break to get in a position to successfully run a regular try scoring play. The footy gods weren't really with the Dolphins in this one, as Avarillo's falling falling, he got the hammer alongside him, and just the way that he falls means that he can't get the ball away for the easy 4-pointer. That's the ghost of Senator Ron McAuliffe putting his thumb on the scale to say there's only one Brisbane team, while the ghost of Don Bramman, who loved rugby league, looks on being like, these folk better not be Catholic. Thanks for popping in, Don. Wait, are they black? Anyway, that takes us to halftime with the Broncos up 4, and Francis Molo kicks off the insanity by driving through the line for no discernible reason, losing the ball and burning a captain's challenge along the way. And all it does is hand the Broncos the ball on their 20 immediately, and to their credit, the Finns held out the Broncos for one set, the Broncos got a restart, and the Finns held them out for 4 more tackles until Ben Tolte, aka Benny Fragrance, aka the Big Stink, aka Ben G. Tolte, the man with better hair than Carrigan, threw a wild, hey, someone's going to be there offload, out of the back of his hand, and he might not have known where it was going, only that it was definitely going somewhere. And Reece Walsh, who had been hanging around the left side trying to get involved all set, is there to collect. Tolte plays a lot of ethical football. You give him the football, he runs straight with it. So much that in 4 appearances this season, according to the NRL stats, he has not recorded a single pass. And until the Dolphins game, hadn't recorded an offload either. Every time he's been given the ball, he's gone straight up the guts. And the first time that he's let the ball leave his possession all season, he's throwing an offload like that for his first try assist. In his remaining minutes, he recorded a second offload and still no passes. They're a different stat. With the 1 try assist in 28 minutes, which is the most he's ever played. That try was very fun and important, but it was the defense that the Broncos played the next 15 or so minutes that really won them the game, holding up Max Plath at the try line, then holding on for 4 straight sets without conceding a try, while the Dolphins were offloading and breaking tackles for fun, and Isaiah Katoa was sprinkling in some truly terrifying kicks. The Broncos threw a few penalties and 6 agains in that period, sure, but if they don't count for anything on the scoreboard, who cares? Basically, everyone impressed in that time, but I thought Shibasaki did an especially good job on his edge after coming on to replace Anderson, who I hope is well, but even in a best case scenario, won't be on the field for a little while. After Katoa, Averillo is the Dolphins player that scares me the most because he's so unpredictable, but Sheba made a great tackle to hold him up. Then Ricky sprinted to recover a kick that Averillo had put through in a way that kind of indicated that Ricky has seen tries scored in basically every way possible, including the impossible, and knew that someone had to get to the ball first. That whole sequence ends with Walsh taking a catch, which sent the crowd into a frenzy. Reynolds then hit a 70-meter torp, and at that point, everyone's gassed. The Dolphins have just thrown everything at the Broncos. The Broncos have been pushing them away, but a 10-point lead still isn't very safe against these guys. And Walsh goes to enter the line on the left, and I don't know if it's because of him or Ezra, but the timing's off. The ball goes to ground, and no one's stopping Jake Averillo. They're setting up the big Walsh play here, which so far this season they've preferred to set up on the right-hand side, but with Walsh's favourite target in Shibasaki taking his place back on that edge, I wouldn't be surprised if that had been the plan. Walsh has been running the ball and playing short options more often to start the season. He did throw the huge pass to Karapani, which became a no try, but those are cold weather passes. You need everyone to be in a bit of form before you start throwing those. And it was cold on Saturday morning, so expect 3-man cutouts soon enough. This was a great Walsh game, but I know there's going to be the Walsh game where I have to talk about him for 15 minutes eventually, so let's just say probably a 9.5 out of 10 game for Walsh and keep moving. Watching that try back now, it's like, oh god, they're going to blow this game. But I wasn't too distressed in the moment. I think because the Finns looked pretty gassed in their set before the error, and in the back and forth and the sets that followed, the Broncos' middles just didn't stop making tackles. Willison had the singular goal of tackling everything in front of him. He made 42 tackles in 44 minutes. Carrigan was in the midst of another 80-minute effort. He made 52 tackles and ran 177 meters. He then put pressure on the entire team by hitting Cody Nikorima after a kick, which I know is a soft call, but the league has at least been consistent that they will make bad calls about contact on kickers. I especially enjoyed Billy Slater on commentary talking about how soft the call was, as if he wouldn't have thrown himself 50 meters across the park if they'd been that soft on the call when he played. Regardless, the Dolphins are probing inside the Broncos 20 and they still can't get anything left, so they go right for the obvious target of Ezra Mam. Averillo slips on the 4th tackle. Katoa runs on 5th and gets himself tackled by Pakes, who led the tackle count again this week with 53. Then with their halfback out of the play, the Dolphins still get what they want, and Averillo is on Shiva's outside shoulder. Karapani has to come in to complete the tackle, and Mam does a great job sliding out to Izako. And while Averillo gets the ball out, it's not clean, and Ezra takes Izako out of the field. It's excellent scramble defense. If Karapani doesn't jam in, Averillo scores, and if the pass doesn't hit the ground, Ezra's still there to make the save. All in minute 70 of a 4-point game. When the Broncos take the next set, Carrigan makes a nice 20-meter run, and I have no idea where he got the energy for that. It's the kind of get-out-of-jail run that Haas normally gives them late in the piece. Then Ricky makes his 3rd big kick chase of the half. Great to see him terrorizing back fives again. The Broncos' next opportunity with the ball is a bit stop-start. They're just getting what they can. Reynolds gets tackled on 5th, which is, I think, why Madge was blowing up in the box. So Walsh just puts up a huge bomb, and no one really knows where it's going. The Finns let it bounce. Ezra is just running, and the rugby league gods tip the scale once more, and it lands with Sheba for his first try of the season. Welcome back to the Shogun. He's got some grace with Anderson injured, but he's playing with the form that you want to see to keep him in the side. With 5 minutes to go in the game, the Finns aren't out of it. 2 tries in 5 isn't a problem for them, and they just go all-out attack again in their last sets, and very nearly score through Fine Fuiaki, who ran 222 meters with 102 of those post-contact, and was stopped from scoring probably 3 times this game. Once by a forward pass from Nikorima, once by Pakes, and now finally by Walsh. It's a great tackle. It's one that he arguably doesn't have to make with a minute to go, but he throws his whole body at him and makes the effort anyway. He then exploits the rules by giving away a 6 again by actually committing a professional foul in the ruck, so his teammates can get back in the line. The Finns go left, Lemieux spills it, and Mariner is away for his final run of the night to clock up 217 metres in this game. And just as Billy's saying the Broncos are cooked, it's time for Katoni to close the book and give us a celebration. Great game by Mariner too, switching from the left centre to the right wing. Plenty of great carries, 6 tackle breaks. He's becoming much more consistent and his defence has improved a whole bunch. Very happy with Mariner this year. This is the Stags game though, and for the Game Day Squad Extra Stat of the Week, Stag gets the negative gearing badge. He's got ownership over this stadium and the Dolphins pay him rent now, and something happens with his tax. Ticker Gutless Index, I can't think of anyone gutless. So much ticker out there. That period of solid defense was so impressive, especially Karapani and Willison. Then 3-2-1 for best on ground. I mean, how do you go past Katoni for the 3 points? I just called this the Stags game. Similarly, there's no choice but Carrigan for 2 points because he's played 2 incredible 80-minute games now, and 1 point, you know what? Give it to the skipper. All right, that's game. Ciao.